Welcome, everybody, to the PyBites Platform Interview Demo. This is Bob Eldebos. I'm here with
Julian Sequeira. Thank you for joining us.
welcome. And in this video, we want to show you, well, first of all, why did we build an interview tier for our platform? What's the what problem are we trying to solve, Julian?
So we're trying to tackle the coding interview, the technical interview that is the bane of every budding developer's existence. Do you want to explain why, Bob? Do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, so well, first of all, it's very scary.
Yeah.
It's very algorithmic, which is good in a sense, but it doesn't tell you everything. It's very time consuming. It's
Hmm.
frustrating, a lot of work. And yeah, so interviewees are kind of scared by it, having a negative experience. And managers
Yep.
hiring developer teams, the developer teams are spending way too much time on this task, which we thought can be done better.
Yep. In general, it's just a poor experience all around for both parties, the company, the person doing the hiring, and the candidate. And that's what we want to get rid of. The end result, or the product of all of this pain, is that companies are missing out on amazing coders, people who code just like the rest of us. The way that people code in a coding interview is not indicative of the real experience of coding on a team. It just does not encapsulate it at the moment. The whole whiteboarding thing is just a bit of a torture more than anything, and it's a way of just keeping. It ends up keeping people out, and good people miss out on roles. So this is why we've built the interview tier of the PyBites platform. And the purpose of this video today is to demo that just for you.
Yeah, a while ago we used the whiteboard, but it's actually meant to be used for brainstorming, not for coding interviews. And we thought like, well, we have 300 plus exercises that are bulletproof. Thousands of developers have gone through them, have given us feedback. We iterated over them, and they're real world. And well, we have algorithm bites, but that's not the majority of them. And yeah, people have done those bites and say that they prepared well for interviews. So
Exactly.
we added a tier to the platform that recruiters or developer teams can use it to pre-qualify developers. And that's what we want to show today.
Yep. So you give them the experience of actually coding, you get to see their work, and they get to do it in an environment that is very, very similar to what they would have in the day job. So why don't we dive in, Bob?
Yes. So here I have an account and I just made a license key I'm going to enter. And now I'm a recruiter admin. You get your welcome message. So here we see the license, and I got a bunch of interview tokens. And what that means is those are tokens for interviews you can send to people. So to demonstrate that, let's make a nice team name.
And how many tokens does each interview take?
One token.
One token per interview. Per interview. Perfect.
So now I got my unique URL, my little home on the CodeChannels platform. And now I can go to manage your interview bites, right? And I have two tokens in this case. Of course, this can be variable depending the tier. And I can add a new bite exercise. And I can create an exercise from scratch with my own description and template code, starter code, my own PyTest to validate that exercise. But more commonly, what happens is that interviewers navigate our existing bites and take an existing bite. So, for example, let's pick an easy one because this is just for demo purposes. And so if I like this exercise and I want to use it for an interview, I can copy this byte, and that now assigns it to my account, right? And then I can still edit it. So I could even add an extra function or change the template code, whatever I want to do. And when you're okay with it, you mark it published. And I actually do need to give it a level. So that's a beginner. So now the byte is in published state, and there are some more options now. I can track my submissions. We come back to that later. But the next step is to manage your interview tokens. So here you can assign a number of tokens to this byte. So tokens, again, are interview links you can send to candidates. So let's dedicate 10 tokens. And this will now make 10 private links I can use with my interviewees. So I'm going to copy one and send it to Julian for his interview.
So from this workflow, you can see that what you can do as a hiring manager or an interviewer is you can literally create your own exercise. And the power of that means that you are capable of creating an exercise based on your team, based on the stack that you use, whatever it happens to be. So you can put that into this tool. You can write your own tests and then generate these unique links to then send out to the candidates. So if you have a recruiter that does this sort of work for you, you just normally create the job role. You can send them these links and say, hey, for the next 10 candidates, just send each one this link. And that's hands off for you. You don't have to worry about any of that. And all you have to do then is wait for them to actually take on the challenge, which I'm about to do now. And then once you get the results, you can go through that. And we'll explain how some best practices and examples of how you can use that data. But for now, I'm going to share my screen and show what this looks like from the candidate end.
The receiver end.
All right, so we're back with my test account here on the Code Challenges platform. So your candidate will have to create an account when they get this link, and they just paste it in there and hit go, and that's it. Now, this here is essentially the interviewing screen. You can imagine if we are going to compare it to the existing system, this would be like the whiteboard part, the live coding part, except you're not watching them do it. They get to do this at their own pace. You can see how long this takes them. So right now the timer is ticking. So I don't know that as a candidate. You don't have to tell them. You can take the pressure off. You can tell them if you want. But at the end of the day, you want this to be as less stressful as you can, so that they actually do their best work.
Sorry to interject, but I can actually make it a bit more stressful because as the interviewer, you can set a deadline. You can put an hour true. And then you see a ticking clock. But we were nice this time and we didn't do that.
Exactly. We don't want me to sweat while we're here. So as we mentioned before, if you are not familiar with the platform, there are tests. So those tests that you saw in that creation field as you were creating the exercise, they show up here so the candidate can see it. And this, again, is similar to real-world programming where you code to tests. So for me, as the candidate, I could use these tests as a way of trying to understand what you want this code to do. Now, again, this is a pretty simplistic exercise here. So we'll just do some random typing in here just to show you what that looks like. So in this one, I'm just trying to say if you are below a certain age, you cannot drive the car. And if you are of a certain age and above, you can drive the car. So let's just say if I'll just type in one of the solutions here, whatever, print if name, and I will just leave it like that. That's clearly not going to work. It's not going to solve anything. But if I hit submit, we'll see the test fails. And now click show PyTest output, and I can now see as a candidate, where did my test go wrong? So clearly this printf name here does nothing. It doesn't get us to the solution. I'd have to reread this in synopsis at the top and try and understand where I went wrong, right? And every time I get something wrong, it's recorded. So every time I hit submit, it's recorded. Now, I don't know that, again, as a candidate. You can let them know that, obviously, but you don't have to. So I'm just going to keep typing in here, and then maybe we'll try again, see what happens. And this is probably going to fail again, right? So 2 failed, 1 passed. Okay, I'd read that, figure out where I went wrong, and continue going. So I'm just going to put the solution in here now so you can see what that looks like in reality. So I would be sitting here coding. Oh my gosh.
The good news is I'm watching him now, but in reality, the interviewer would not be watching Julian. It's all async.
And all of you are watching me as well. So
talking about putting you on the spot. That's
yeah,
not how it is.
exactly. So I can hit submit, and there you go. The test has passed, and there you go with a little message at the top. Way to go! You solved this interview bite. So at that point, as the candidate, I'm good to go. I'm good to close the screen. Or if you have sent them multiple challenges to do, I can go to the next one. And that's all I have to worry about. I can go back to my day, and now it's back over to the interviewer.
And it seems like from the message here, you can also keep improving your code, right?
Exactly right.
Nice. Cool. So yeah, let me grab the sharing again and show how this looks from the interviewer side. So people have been coding, candidates, and I can go to submissions, and now Julian's solution shows up. But a note of warning, not only the final code shows up, but also his previous attempt. So here's that now infamous syntax error. So yeah, a note of warning, when you submit, it is recorded, as Julian said before. So you want to make sure that when you click submit, that as the candidate, that's code you actually want the interviewer to see, right? So we see the progression up until the final solution. See the number of saves, we see the duration as well, and the final code. And we can also download this data if this would be 50 submissions or something.
Yep. And a couple of things to note here, just from a candidate perspective. So one, the duration allows you to see how long, obviously, they took to do it. But this also keeps in mind that it kicks off the timer as soon as they load the byte, right? So they have to read through it. If they finish it within 10 seconds, you know that something is going on there, right? So this gives you some insight into their process. If it takes them a good 10 or 15 minutes, that's not necessarily a problem. Or is it? It's up to you. Furthermore, the amount of saves that they have or those submissions isn't necessarily a bad thing. It shows you their train of thought. It shows you how they get to their problem. So you can see, oh, wait, they've completely changed their tact here, or they've changed from using nested if statements to something else, or they've introduced a library. And what this also allows the candidate to do, which you didn't see, obviously, as I was sharing the screen, is they are free to go and Google things. They can go look up their own documentation, notes they've taken before. They can go do whatever they want to find the answer, because again, that's what we do as professional developers. We don't know everything off the top of our head, nor should we, but we should know how to find the answer. And as you see their revisions here, you can see their progression to the solution. And even if they don't get the solution, you can see their train of thought, and that allows you to have a deeper discussion with them.
Yeah. And as we always say, we're always iterating. So if you would find it beneficial for the interviewer to leave some notes, as you mentioned, the train of thought, I could imagine that, I mean, the code probably usually speaks for itself, but if the interviewee could leave some notes, that could be beneficial. And we're open to build that in and to continuously make this better.
And the final thing I just want to mention with regards to having a conversation. So the way we like to see things going with the coding interview is, yes, your coding chops do matter, whether your skill is there or not. It does matter, but also your ability to talk to your code, to communicate, your ability to work as a team, to fit in. All of these things matter just as much as the code. So what we encourage people to do when we made this tool, we really wanted this not to make or break someone, not to make or break someone's success in a coding interview. What we hope it does is inspire some conversation. So as a hiring manager, you can take this and you can show them and you can say, hey, I saw every one of your submissions. How did you go from there to there? Get that conversation going. That way you're not putting them on the spot for, well, what library does this? And what would you use for that? You can see what they did. And if they didn't get there, there's a conversation point. If they did get there, there's another conversation point. And this is how you can flesh out that conversation, get some more meaningful conversation happening and really get to know that person and whether they're going to be a good fit for your team. So again, if they didn't hit the right solution, that's not a problem. What matters is how they got there. And if they can talk about that and you give them that opportunity using this code that they've submitted, it's going to be a much more fluent and a much more comfortable conversation.
That's great. So not only do you have more data to work with before the interview, it's also a good conversation starter. So to wrap it up, to make this whole interviewing process that unfortunately is often very painful easier, save you a lot of time, get the data up front, make candidates more at ease, and have a nice conversation starter when you ultimately get to interview them, check out our interview tier. That will really help you.
Yep. And if you are interested in checking it out, just get in touch with us, send us an email, message us, whatever you can. And we'd love to talk with you about it. It's our attempt to make the coding interview survivable, much simpler, and much more enjoyable for everyone involved. So thanks very much for watching.
Thanks for watching.